All right, it is time for the top 200 film countdown circa 2011 part 2. Hey everyone, it is Shannon, and I'm super excited to be here today and to share with you this video. This is going to be part 2 of my 200 films countdown circa 2011. So what this is I made a list in 2011 of my top 200 films, and I thought I would go through them and share them. This is in part of my 10-year YouTube anniversary retrospective to sort of show like where I was before the channel started, and also, to be honest, to give me some time to pull together sort of all of the films I've seen since this channel started and get a sense of my favorite movies from the past 10 years. So this is from before the channel, and then like throughout the year I'm hoping to put together information to be like, what are the films that I love now. So taking a walk down memory lane to give you a sense of where 2011 was in terms of film. The big Oscar films were The Fighter, Black Swan, and The King's Speech. In terms of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we had 4 films: Iron Man, Iron Man 2, Incredible Hulk, and Thor. That was all that was out. And that makes, for me, that's one of those ones that really centers sort of like when this was, because we've had so many Marvel movies since then. And then in terms of Star Wars, we're literally between series. So the prequel series had finished up many years before, and we're years away from the sequel series. And in terms of the Twilight series, we had Twilight, New Moon, Eclipse, but the 2 Breaking Dawn films had not yet come out. So that's a bit of grounding in terms of where things were, and we're going to pick things back up for this video with title 185. So my 185th favorite or top film circa 2021 was Amelie. This was such a good film. This is such a good film. This is just like sort of like one of those ones that sort of just hit all of the tick boxes. It's like art house, but it was also quite, if I remember correctly, it was quite readily accepted and loved by a bigger audience as well, and it was quite warm-spirited and funny, and so it was just one of those ones that just really, I think, also spoke to film fans, but also to a bigger audience as well, and it really is a charming film. I have not seen it for a long time, to be honest. I know that I have it, but I haven't seen it for quite some time, but it really is special, and so it's an easy one to widely recommend. That being said, I haven't watched a lot of these films since, the past 10 years, so my level of sensitivity on some things is not as keen, may not have been as keen as it is now, so that's just something to be aware of, and that I am aware of, which is a bit, it's an interesting way to see the passage of time, to realize that some things I didn't pick up on and now I would have. So I don't think that there's anything in this one where that is the case, but there may be, so I'm not sure. So Amelie is a joy to watch. Next up at 194, we have Once Were Warriors. Wow, this is an extraordinary film. It's a New Zealand film. It is one of the harshest movies that I've ever seen, but it's also so extraordinarily good. And I remember I went to see it again with my sister because we had seen it, and then we went to see it again, and we're like, why did we do that? Because it was just so harsh in terms of there's domestic violence, and that's the harshness. Minimum, actually, this is the minimum of the harshness. There's more harsh things in this one, but that was the domestic violence in this is like really, as I said, when I watched it a second time, I'm like, I don't understand why I did that. But the acting is so good, the story is really good, the characters you really feel for, and it was just an amazing film. So that is my title for 194. For 193, we have The Sweet Hereafter. This is a Canadian film. It's by Adam McGuire. Oh, Ian Holm. I forgot he was in it. This is a great drama. If you are a fan of drama, this is a really, really good one. I have enjoyed many of the works of Adam McGuire. I think probably all of the works of Adam McGuire. I know I haven't seen everything, but this one really is extraordinary. So I definitely, oh, it was the 1997 Cannes International Film Festival winner, including the Grand Prix. Wow. That information is not in the best order to understand it. So, and oh my gosh, I am, wow, 1997, really? Okay. Just having a moment here. That's a while ago now. So anyway, it is a great drama and I really enjoyed it. I still think about particular moments in this one. I really do. There's one particular moment and it's actually rather mundane and it's just really captures, something really, what would be the right word? Because it's not intense, but it was just so succinctly, and there was just mastery in that. So yeah, 183. Okay, 182 is Hellboy. So this is the one, again, this is another one where there's now been a renewal, a remake. No, that's not a reboot. So this is the one from, I don't know, before 2011. I don't know what year this one is from. The one with Ron Perlman. Love this movie so much. Again, it was like this, and I didn't really know what urban fantasy was in terms of a thing. Like, it is a superhero movie. It is a comic turned movie and a big sort of lots of adventure and intrigue and action and stuff like that. But for me, one of the things that I realize now is that it's also urban fantasy. So it's current day set with supernatural elements. I love that. And I did not even realize that I love that. So now I know I love urban fantasy and I'll watch and read almost anything that's urban fantasy. But at the time, we didn't get tons of stuff like that. So, but I thought Hellboy was great. I really enjoyed it. I actually have watched it a ridiculous amount of time, especially the beginning. I have, but not the whole way through. So it's one of those movies that I put on if I've been having a rough day, and I actually skip the first sort of like 10 minutes because I don't love the setup, but I love when we start to have is it John Hurt that plays the professor character, and once that part, there's just so many wonderful moments, and it's also a bit quirky and lighthearted. And right now, and for the past many years, I would say even sort of almost 10 years, we've had a lot of trend for things being really dark and really violent. And this one I feel like is more lighthearted, and I really appreciate that. So Hellboy, love it. Another one that I love, oh gosh, yeah, Run Lola Run. This is a great, great film. I don't know how many people know. This was so huge at the time that it came out, and I don't know how many people know it now. The woman who is in it was also in The Bourne Identity. I'm trying to remember the actor's name. It's not on the poster. Dazzling, stunning, exhilarating. It was a very unique storytelling. Now we see this kind of storytelling more sort of like a repeat type of situation, but at the time it wasn't something that we saw again and again, and we saw as often as we do now. So I just love this, and I thought she is a great protagonist, and I really loved the film, just full stop. So that was great. This one I think I've only seen once, so that's a bit chancy to put on the list, and that is Enter the Void. Definitely art house. My notes, this is my notes from the time. Too weird to even be able to describe to anyone, and hard to keep spoiler free. So take from that what you will. Maybe for this one I'll put a trailer up in the corner so that you can get a sense of it if you are curious. Is it French style? It is a French film. I don't, genuinely now 10 years later, I can't remember exactly what this one is about. It was very atmospheric and more based on, for me, what I enjoyed was that it was more based on texture and style. I don't remember what the plot was at all. And I don't remember how important the plot was. The plot isn't always the most important thing to me, but this one, I thought it was very engaging, very exciting, very demanding of your attention, but definitely not going to be for everyone. So yeah, so that one might need trigger warnings. If you need trigger warnings, anything here, I don't remember. Genuinely, I remember the ones that are violent, but other than that, I don't unfortunately remember things. And at that time, I was not generally looking at films through that lens, although I did make particular note for some violence. So yeah, I used to include that in my reviews when I did online reviews for films, but it's been a long time since I did that. So anyway, that was my 180? All right, 179. Oh, yeah, The Good, the Bad, and the Weird. Oh, this is an awesome South Korean Western that's a sort of heist kind of thing. I watched the trailer for this movie so much, and it didn't come out, I don't think it came out in Toronto, and I actually considered going to Montreal to watch this during a film festival because it was just looked that much fun. I eventually ended up watching it on DVD or Blu-ray, and I loved it. The characters were dynamic and just so engaging and so interesting, and it has such a great trailer, and I really have seen it a million times over, that trailer. Like, I just watch it again and again, and it did hold up to the excitement and to like just it was everything that I wanted it to be and more from seeing the trailer that many times, which is pretty rare. So The Good, the Bad, and the Weird at 179. I might put that one a little bit higher at this point, but I haven't rewatched it in a while. A movie that I actually have seen a fair amount, but not for a long time, is Serenity. So this is 178, Serenity. So this is the movie that we had the one season of Firefly, that TV series, space western, and then this was the movie that came out. It was interesting because I went to see this movie with my sister Jamie, and she hadn't seen Firefly, and we just went to see it. I can't remember, I think I just wanted to see it, and it just happened to be coming out, and it was wild because I had no idea that the theater would be jam-packed, and there were so many fans. I was unaware of the love there was for this film, and just people had such a good time, and I enjoyed it, and I really liked the film, and Firefly was one of those shows that it's a great show. Don't get me wrong. It's a great show. And if you can see it on streaming, or if you have it, it's only one season, it's just great. But it aired in an odd order. I wasn't able to see all of the episodes when they aired for some reason. So it just had a rough time of it in terms of when it was airing, and it was well before streaming. It was regular cable kind of time. So to be able to see one contained story within that universe was really special, and so I really enjoyed it, and I feel like I would like to rewatch the series. There's a lot of really great characters in this and great actors in the series, and I really enjoyed the film, but I would probably recommend watching the series before going into the film, although thank you, Jamie, for just coming with me. I hadn't thought of it. I hadn't thought of that. Next up, at 177, we have Bronson. Okay, so this is with Tom Hardy, and it's a Nicholas Winding Refn film, who is an extraordinary director. He also directed the Pusher trilogy and Valhalla Rising. And I'm trying to remember if this was the first thing I saw Tom Hardy in. It might be. It is a bit of an oddball type of film. It's a biopic, and it's about a character who's in jail, and I just put art on screen. That's how I described it. And I again, this is another one that I haven't rewatched in many years. I know that that it is a bit of a challenging watch, but I think it's mostly a one person. There's not a lot of interaction because he's in jail or he's in prison. So, but I thought it was extraordinary. And I think I went to see this, I think, in the theater. I don't think I saw it at a festival run. I think I saw it in the theater, yeah. A stylish thrill ride. Jaw-dropping awesome. So, yeah, I would agree with all of that, and I thought it was amazing. I'd be curious to hear if anyone else has watched Bronson. It's definitely a bit more off the beaten path, I think, of a pick, but for me, there are some directors and some actors that once I see them, I will see anything that they're in, and this one I can't remember. I think it might have been because I had seen Valhalla Rising. That might have been it. So I will watch anything that the director does, without question. And I do like a lot of the films that Tom Hardy's in, but he is in a lot of sort of gritty crime stuff, and that is not my favorite. But this is more of a character study, because it's a biopic, and it was really extraordinary. Okay, now to 176. I might have to speed up a little so we get a lot in here. Oh, that's not... Uh-oh, that's not the right title. Okay, I'm gonna have to go a little back forth. Okay, at 176 we have Barbarella. Wow, this was so much fun. I had no idea that this would be as fun as it was. I saw this just because it was, again, one of those titles that was just a missing link, just a title that I hadn't seen, that it was very widely talked about and sort of zeitgeist, kind of just highly referenced. And it was so much fun. So it's Barbarella, what is it? Queen of the Galaxy. So it's a bit of a space parody. I don't even know how you would describe it. Is it a comedy? Is it supposed to be? I don't even know. It is really unique. Parody cult status film is well deserved. That is what I wrote. And she's also very forthright, which I think is very cool. She's also a very forthright protagonist, which I thought was very cool. So Barbarella, it's one of those ones where it's nice that has a fair amount of hype and actually lived up to it. So that was great. And then we have at 175, Ginger Snaps. This is a great movie. I feel like a fair amount of people in the horror community know about this one. It's a Canadian horror film, and it is so good. It's a brilliant idea, has the quirky Canadian factor, and is very over the top. I think it is fairly violent because it is a horror movie, but I absolutely loved it. Actually, the over-the-topness wasn't always the violence. It was just sort of sometimes like the sort of like Heather's level comments to each other from the two sisters, if I remember correctly. So this was great. I loved it. Highly recommend it, without question. Okay, now we get the one that's sort of out of sequence. This feels like totally weird to go from one to the other. All right, now at 174, Overboard. This is just a very cute, warm, funny movie. I don't know how well it holds up over time because comedies don't always hold up that well over time, but I love Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell, and I have such fond memories of this one. This one's very sort of more nostalgic for me, and I haven't rewatched it for a while, but I have seen it many, many, many times, and there's certain scenes and certain moments and certain characters that I look forward to seeing anytime that I see it, and so it's a really, really great one. Although I will say, I still remember at the theater, someone ahead of us sort of spoiled sort of like the last line, like they said it before it happened, and I'm just like, really? You're not the only person here. And I don't think they like knew it because they watched it before. It was just like, of course this is what would be said. So that still sticks with me. So why do that? Why do that? You're not at home. You're not at home. Other people can hear you. So that was stinky. But other than that, I really enjoyed the film, and I haven't rewatched it for a while. That one I definitely would rewatch. Most of these I would rewatch. And at 173, we have Now Voyager, which is just an absolute classic. I didn't get a great picture for this one. This is not what I would have picked. I think maybe more of the insert there. This is Betty Davis. It's a coming of age story, but a different sort of coming of age story, a bit more of a older character and a bit darker, and there is some more dark drama, not in terms of what we think now is dark, but there is just some edge to it, and but also some playfulness, and I just quite loved this one. I think it's very beautiful, and I definitely would love to rewatch that one. That one I do not own. I think it might be on a streaming service, but I'm not sure. At 172, we have Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. I thought this one would be higher. This is one that it's the fifth film. I didn't super love it at the time, but it really grew. No, it's the sixth film, right? Order of the Phoenix. I was thinking of 5. Oh yeah, no, this makes sense here. Yeah, this one's good, but it's not my favorite. There's a lot of tough things in this one, especially one of the teacher characters, and I feel like there's a lot of tension, and it gets a little more serious in this one, and I think it's really good, and there's lots of good moments moments too. I love the whole series. Like there's just, but yeah, the placement of this title makes sense to me to be 172. And at 171, which I think is where we will end this video, is we have The Last Days of Disco. Oh my gosh, this one was just one of those movies that was just like perfect film for the perfect time. It just really spoke to what my life was like when I saw it, and not in terms of disco, but in terms of clubbing. And it was just perfect in terms of that sense. It is a bit of a tough film, but there's still moments that I remember from this one. And I think, to be honest, I think there might be a Criterion version of this, which I'm a little surprised at. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but great film. So it's set in the disco era, following two friends and roommates, and just drama, shenanigans, relationship challenges, the changing of the tide in terms of music, society, those kinds of things, and drama and friendship ensues. So that is where we will leave off. That is 185 to 170. So I think these are going to be probably 15 titles each, unless I change something up or talk less. Maybe not. Let me know. Is there one in here that you now are curious to watch? Perhaps Amelie or Bronson or now Voyager. I imagine the most popular one out of this set is probably the Harry Potter film, or maybe the Overboard, maybe. But oh yeah, Barbarella, Bronson, Serenity, The Good, the Bad, and the Weird. I love The Good, the Bad, and the Weird. I mean, it's a South Korean Western heist movie with style like to the nines. Like, it is just so good. It's so good. Now I really want to rewatch that one. That has been a big fave, and yeah, I might have to dig that one out. I do own it somewhere. Anyway, but yeah, let me know. Is there any of these titles that are your favorites as well? Or is there something that you heard in this set that you are now curious to watch? Thank you so much for watching, and I will be back soon with another video. Upside down.